Okay, so I'm going to try to explain how the dome should work. That is the mold for the triangles that form the pentagon, and that is the mold that makes the triangles that form the hexagon. So I'm trying to build a 3V dome made of Aircrete bricks with the angles already built into the molds. I don't know if you can see well, but like they have a beveled angle and a miter angle. So it's a compound angle that shapes here, and I'll create the hexagons and the pentagons with the right angles to eventually form a full dome. So using these molds, I have a few of each, I made all these bricks. So you need, for 5/8 3V dome, you need 70 hexagon triangles and you need 30 pentagon triangles. Of course, you need 5 pentagon triangles to make a pentagon, and you need 6 hexagon triangles to make a hexagon. So the next base, I build a base because I'm in the Northwest Territories in Canada and we build on permafrost, so you can't really have foundations. So I build a base on pads. There's 2 more in the back and there's 1 on the side. That could be eventually level as the frost heave of the winter or the melt in the summer. You can keep your base level, but that's just applicable to the Northwest Territories mostly. And then what you have to do, as a 5/8 dome doesn't come flat on the ground, I build these little platforms which have an 8-degree inclination there, and if there's a little formula that Paul Robinson presented on his website, that you divide the diameter of your dome by 67.77, and if you're using millimeters or inches, doesn't matter, it will give you either the equivalent of millimeters or a decimal of an inch or more than an inch. What's your height? Since I'm using 5 inches thick bricks, it's almost 6 actually, I calculated the inside and the outside differently just to make sure. But then I know this angle here is 8 degrees, hence me cutting this at 8 degrees. So when I cut my height here, it equivalents to the height that it should be on the inside, so I know I'm doing it right. Then what you also know is the 67.77 gives you the difference between this height and this height, which for my 26.5-inch dome on the inside is 22 millimeters or 31/32 of an inch. For the outside though, which is another 5 inches, sorry, it's close to 7/8. So I just calculated the difference in one end, cut on an 8-degree angle like this, and then put a 3/4 inch plywood just to attach my bricks. So now when I stand the bricks, and I'll have to do off camera and they'll hopefully join these videos, these 2 bricks will be on a little angle, and when I put my 3rd brick there, which is 3 hexagon triangles, we'll do half a hexagon. The angles, if they are sitting flush on both sides and level on the top, should start giving me the curvature that I need. But then, so in the first, let's say the first part, you have a difference here, but the next triangle, which is the bottom base of a hexagon, it goes straight. So what I did, I took that height and kept it here. So then off this one, I'm gonna put another number 1 basically. I just numbered them so I can know which one goes next. So number 1 will go here, then a 2, and then another 3, and so on until I do a full circle. So I'll present a few and I'll show you how it should look. Okay, so that gap there should not be, but the circumference is hard to guess the angles without having the 3rd one that goes on each of those. Will give me the curvature, and the angles combined will just present the perfect circumference. So I name my bases 1s, 2s, and 3s. So, like I say, for laying it out. So number 3 is the one that is straight. 2 actually has a tilt to the right, like with the lower end being on the right, and 1 has the lower end to the left. So when you're building, you need to remember that you alternate every other one. So then this is my top. So from here to here is the height of the triangle. So this will be my base, and this is side 1, side 2. So I mark them like this when I make them, so I know which one is it, because they're almost equilateral, so it's hard to guess. With the pentagon ones are a lot easier, but I still mark the tops with a cross like that, so when I put them all, like the center should all be marked. So the way it works is like in number 2s, the top goes to the right, number 1s, the top goes to the left, and in number 3s, it goes to the top. So then when I put my one triangle like that and one triangle like that, that will make a half hexagon, and then I'll put a one triangle like that there, and that will make my half hexagon for that. You'll get 10 half hexagons on the first row, or what I call the first row. I don't know if it has a proper term. So my bricks there should fit there, and one I have my edges flush to each side, it will give me the curvature like I say. So now I'm gonna scratch the sides, pour some mortar, lay the top one, and let them set. I also have a third little block here that I will be putting wherever it fits, supporting my full length there so it doesn't sag. My plywood, I don't think it would sag, but just better safe than sorry. So I'll scratch it, mortar it, put the fillers there, and close up my full circumference. I'm gonna be taking probably these two to leave space for a door, but I just presented right now, so I will have like a nice idea of how it will look. Okay, so I'll see you guys when I'm done with the first row. Okay, the first half hexagon is done. I just need to do another 9 to full. Well, I'll do 8 because one is gonna be my door frame, but it seems to fit pretty good. I cover the seam. I'm using Don Gaia's air mortar. The only thing I have to change the recipe, because to 1 gallon of concrete volume, which is 20 pounds, they recommend 1.5 quarts, and that was not even getting the concrete wet. So I actually used a full gallon to a gallon, so 1 to 1. And I know the ratio might be off, but the thing here in the Northern Territory is so dry, I'm not worried about overhydration of the concrete for curing. And I did bring the volume to 2.5 gallons total with the foam after I mix and hydrated the concrete. So I'll show you guys how the first row looks when it's finished. So I finished the first row, so you can see down there. So these ones here, like that one and this one and that one, has no mortar, and this side has no mortar, and that one, because this is gonna be my door, hopefully. Okay, and then it took about 3-4 hours, because big mistake, I put that one in and I started mortaring around, and then I mortared some this way, but then I end up here with like, I would say, that much of a gap. So then I had to like push all of them in like 2-3 times just to eventually get the right curvature. So note to self, dry fit all of them first, then you can mortar. Then I also will mortar the outside tomorrow. I did a couple, then I ran out of mortar, and I'll just keep working tomorrow. So that one cracked there after when I moved it, because I had already mortared the outside. But it looks pretty stable. Tomorrow, after I mortar the outside, should get more strength. It should be already binding to each other, and then we'll take it from there. That's the door again. You can see there's no mortar on that. And then the one to the left and the one to the right, with only one side, will be cut about half to fit the door frame, but the other 3 will not be cut at all, will be completely disappear from there. So we'll see. Thank you. Okay, so I have not done updates between second, third, and part of the fourth row because there's really not much to say. The second row went pretty smoothly. The third row needed some bracing, like it's needing the fourth row. I'm thinking probably some dowel system will help keep it in place. Right now I'm using in some corners, I can show you over here, I'm using a 3.5-inch screw going through to prevent the side-by-side, like from here sliding out or that way and that end the opposite. So just to prevent that, I've been using screws in some of them, not all of them. I do scratch the surfaces still. I'm still using the air mortar recipe from Dom Gaia with the latex adhesive added to it. One thing I noticed with that is when you add the mortar, the adhesive, is better to mix it with the water first, then add the concrete and then the foam, because if it's not pre-mixed, I notice the foam reacts really badly to it and just bursts. At least that's happening with Trekker tracks. I don't know any other foaming agents. Okay, so overall looks pretty good. I do have some offshoots there that are not lining up. I'm getting a few cracks, well, crack breaks, but like gaps in between. I think that's because my molds are not very accurate. I do have a bigger problem here. Started on the pentagon there with about 1 inch on the top, and now it's like about 4 inches there. So I don't know how that's gonna compound for my pentagon closing. I'll just deal with it when I get to it. Yeah, it's looking pretty good overall. I do about 10-15 bricks, lay them dry up, and then when I complete the other part of the row, it's much easier. Again, second row, not much problem, did it by myself. Third row, I did it by myself, bracing. Fourth row, I definitely needed help, so I got a buddy to help me out. And the other things, I decided to put mortar alongside the inside outside on the first row. Then I thought it'd probably be better to cover those holes like that one with insulating expanding foam when I can. That'll probably give me better R value and just expand to whatever I need. That's pretty much it. Okay, hopefully in the next few days I'll finish putting the fourth row, and the top pentagon is gonna go out of that one, and we'll see if it catches, or I might have to expand it because that gap is gonna keep growing. So I don't know what's gonna happen right now. Okay, quick update. I've done second, third, and some of the fourth row. Not much problems really, except that giant gap. Started on my pentagon with about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, and now it's up to like probably 4 or 5 inches up there. So I don't know how it's gonna compound to the last row. So far, it's the only place I have a big gap like that. So overall, I'm pretty happy. I given that to probably the lack of exactitude on my angles. So I'm gonna see to work on that. Also, as you can see, I'm bracing the fourth row while it cures. I had to do the same with the third row. The second row was fine, straight enough. They hold pretty good. Also, I've noticed that probably would have been good to do some sort of dowel system. That I don't know how I'm gonna work it out, but it will be good to center it. So right now, for example, here you can see like this brick should have been like 2 inches that way, but it would not work otherwise. I still have a little gap there, but if I had been centered, maybe everything would have been lined up better. We'll see how it compounds to the last pentagon. The bracing is only like while the concrete mortar sets. After that I can take it away and they hold their own pretty good. Yeah, overall it's pretty happy. Not many gaping holes. I have a few crack. You can see down there, like that is a crack. There's another one down there. Some of those are my mistakes for rough handling the bricks. but I think they'll just hold. And I'm also planning to use expanding foam to fill those gaps, the smaller ones, and see if that gives me a good airtight seal with good insulation value. Okay, hopefully I'll finish in a few days and I'll post the whole process. A quick look of the outside when it's about, I would say, 3/4 of the way. I put some mortar on the outside and the inside at first, but then I thought just the foam will do the trick for me and it will give me some value on the insulating on the seams, otherwise I'll have some cold spots. Yes, a little bit cold in the north, but I think I can manage. We're still at just 0 degrees, so I think the concrete will suffer, will be a little bit weak, but I'm not expecting the mortar to hold the dome. I think the shape will do most of the work. And I'm also reinforcing next summer all the exterior and interior shell. Okay, that's my platform. I was gonna hope to use that as some sort of scaffolding, but that was not working, so I ditched it. Cutting Aircrete. I'm making the wrap opening for a door. I already cut it that side. We'll see how the door works with the curvature and everything at the end. So very important thing, the dome is curved, so you have to cut it on a crooked angle to have a straight. From here to here, it has to be the same distance on that end, which I didn't do. So now we're trying to fix that. Good thing Aircrete cuts nicely. And my friend here knows how to do these things. And that's a door jamb, rough opening. I don't know what the term is. So I'm hoping to put the bricks and cut the excess in the inside so I don't have anything sticking inside. It's about 4 feet high because the curvature of the dome is too small, too pronounced after that to try to deal with it. Just a quick note, just to something I find very interesting, and it's not the purpose to explain a lot about Aircrete, but to show you the difference. So these 2 bricks were cast the same day with the same recipe. So like I get 2 bricks out of 1 mixed batch that I do with a 20 kilo bag of concrete, so I know exactly the same recipe went in there. So this one's been curing for 10 days with the wrap on top, and the first 3 days had a poly on top, so it was completely, like not completely sealed, but it was like pretty sealed, so it had a lot of time to do the whole curing process with enough water. You can see like the bottom, I don't know if you can see, my finger does not go in at all. Doesn't leave any, like the tiniest imprint. And if I were to leave it cure for another 3 days without, like with this now, to be fully dry, it will not leave any imprint. Now this guy, I took out of the mold 3 days after it cured because I was gonna use it. First it cracked here and it cracked over there because the corners are always the weakest points until it cures for at least a week. So now it's pretty solid, it's not gonna break anymore. But if you can see, like I can just leave a bigger imprint, and that's because this cured with no poly for the last 7 days. So the first 3 days was completely closed like the other one, with a poly on top and a poly all around it. But then because it dries so fast, it actually makes it a weaker. So I can show you that the front, it's very strong, can press and it won't leave a mark. So Aircrete is very finicky on many aspects, in how fast you mix, how fast you dry, and all that, and how long you cure it for. So if you're gonna work with Aircrete, my recommendation is like start small, make a lot of them. Smaller bricks, try different like things, and then once you're happy with your end result that's consistent and you can repeat it, then start casting. I went like crazy and I did a bunch of bricks, and half of them were like garbage, half of them were good, until I fine-tune all the things that affected it. And I think right now I have a really good recipe, which is dome gaias, but it's just how you handle the whole process. So very important. I don't know if it's important, but to me it was a learning curve that may save some time and money for you guys. Okay, I'll just finish peeling this off and I'll scratch it and I'll put it in the dome. I just thought it will be something that not many people talk about Aircrete. Another little thing, this has been my saving grace. I built this cardboard dome when I first started learning about domes, and everybody tells build a little model first. It's been great to have a visual of how things should lay out, and it also, like, I'm a very visual person, so this to me has been great. Like, it's been through hell and back. It's been snowed on, concrete on, and blah blah blah, so it's not holding its shape great, but it lets me see where pentagons and hexagons go. So it's great to build a little paper like model or cardboard or like little sticks or whatever to have a visual, and also just to figure out how things work in a dome. Like, for example, I know now that I'll be drawing my door here, so that I calculate where my bricks are gonna mesh and all that. It makes it so much easier. So this being, to me, a great investment of my time at the very beginning when I'm working with domes. As I was going to put that one there, which is my 4th row next to the gap, which is already the worst part, I think, of the dome, found that this guy didn't go in all the way, so I shaved a little bit of the corners with the handsaw, hoping I can go a little bit deeper in and cover some of that gap. We'll see how easy it is to adjust on the go. So this is the brick I was shaving. He went in pretty good. Still have that gap, of course, but it sticks out a little bit there, but it wasn't too hard to shave it and make it fit slightly better. Still a gap over there, but not too bad considering how I started. Probably went in like 4 or 5 inches farther than it would have been otherwise, with a full side touching there, so that's pretty good. And this is almost complete. That's with the door. And then I'll just finish the 4th row and put the pentagon. It's done. It has a door. I just put the last break, sticking on a little bit, but not too bad. So I'll just go up. And we are inside of the dome. 10-foot diameter. Yes, there is a few problems with my angles, but I'm pretty sure the calculations are right. It's just my mold building is the problem. So overall it looks decent. The first 2 rows pretty good. 3rd row is where a little problem started. It's hard, like you can see on those ones, to line them up sometimes, so I need to come up with a dowel system or something to make sure the shapes are good. But it opened up there to about 4 or 5 inches, but then it closed when I put the next one. Okay, so as I was saying, that one there, that one is the one I had to cut and shave to size, because the pentagon is a little bit off center there, but it was only one that I had to cut massively. I would say I took 5-6 inches off it, but then overall it's all done. And now I lay some wood underneath, so I'm gonna pour the floor. I imagine I'm gonna put 4 to 4.5 inches high to the side to cover for those little platforms that I have, and give me an extra inch after that, and I'm gonna probably put some laminate flooring or something on top so I can walk and not break my Aircrete. And that's it. I have a dome. I'll give you a quick look from the outside. It's covered in snow right now, but... and that's my platform. Thanks for watching.